Hey everyone, Egman here with another deck profile. Today we've got a deck from Angel or Slowly from Puerto Rico. He ran this Kid Coup Policeman archetype in the Pro Play Games Weekend Championship this past weekend. Really cool, and if you guys have any interest in doing any of the Pro Play Games like online tournaments, there's going to be links in the description below for information on that. It's being played on Untap or Octagon, and just some intermediate tournaments while we're waiting for people to be able to go outside again. So really cool. And there's it's not just all like championship level, and I think like there's ways to they're not all the same price as well. So just if you want to play more casually or for more like prizing stuff, there's options for that as well. So that's really cool. But let's jump into the deck. So we have Kid Coup, one of my favorite leaders, honestly. He's been out for a little bit over a year now. Came out in set 6, and he has this whole archetype with skillless cards, and he's just like a really generically good leader. He has like a bunch of card advantage, and yeah, so it has permanent. You can awaken at 6 if you have a skillless in your draw parity, but otherwise he's an untap 1, draw 1 at 4. And also activate once per turn, you can choose one 4-star ball from your hand, place it, or sorry, reveal it, draw 1 card, and it gets plus 5k power appreciation on the turn. And on the awaken side, similar thing, you just show one 4-star ball, draw 2, and then drop 1 card from your hand. And then when this card, when you combo with a skillless card, it gets plus 5k combo power for your turn. So if you combo with Grandpa Gohan, it becomes a 10k. It's only the first one you combo for the turn, but that's that. So it just generates a lot of value, and especially since you don't have to attack to gain that value as well. So that's really nice, and just a generically really good leader for in general. And since like Black got a lot more like generic support cards for just Black leaders, this is a great card and leader for take advantage of all that. So let's go through the basics. Once again, if you don't have the Son Goku, the adventure begins in 4-star ball, you're doing something wrong. 4 of these. This is pretty much activating once per turn. Choose one 4-star ball from your deck or drop area to your hand. So it's a +1, and it's just activating once per turn. It's not like an auto when you play this card, so this can generate a lot of value just by sitting out there. And also activating for once per turn for 2 if your leader card is black. Choose up to 1 skillless battle card, any cost 3 or less from your deck or drop area, play it, then shuffle your deck. So you can make for this guy, you can use 2 energy to get a 30 KO, and that's actually really good. And we still have some decks have really difficult troubles getting rid of these big 30Ks, so that can be a good idea as well. 6 4-star balls. There's always debate on how many of these you should actually run. I think like the rule of thumb is no less than 4 and no more than 6. So I think 6 is fine. If you want to like run 5 and put like an extra something else in your deck, I think that's good. But I think 6 is a good number as well. So that's kind of like the core, and then running 7 of the 30k vanillas. We kind of need vanillas in this deck, especially because we want to awaken at 6 or less instead of 4 or less. And he decided to put these red ones just because he has something in the side deck that would use a red energy. But generically, we would want only black energy in this deck, and we'll talk about that in a second. But having these 30Ks, I think, is a good idea. Especially, I mean, worst case, you can just play them from your deck or drop area with this guy, and so you just get a big body out for really cheap. Let's go into the Catopesla, the Policeman archetype. So it's these 4 cards. So we have this Universe 3 Policeman. When you play this card, look at the top 7 cards from your deck, choose up to 1 Universe 3 among them after your hand and shuffle your deck so it can find itself, the 4-drop, 5-drop. Just like this is like the start of your chain and can find stuff. Then you go into the 4-drop, just an Eggs Evolve for 1 on top of the 1. It has dual attack and barrier. An auto for 1 energy. When your opponent battle card with any cost of 4 or less attacks, you can negate the attack and negate the skill duration of the turn. So that's really good. Having like just a built-in negate with this guy. Sure, you have to pay 1 energy, but you don't lose any card advantage for it. And so being able to like turn 1 play this and then turn 2 evolve on this, especially since it has dual attack and barrier, so you can swing with this once and then it can restand, and then it's going to be kind of tricky to get rid of the barrier. Or get rid of the barrier or this card with barrier, but it's not impossible right now. There's more and more ways to get around it, but this card is like generically safe. And then there's the 5-drop. So it's a 2x evolve on top of the 4 cost. It's crit double strike, which is a really good combination. We rarely see. We don't have like any card. The only one I can really think of is like the red 5-drop Frieza from Clash of Fates that does that, but we don't really have a lot of double strike crits. So it's just a lot of value. And also when you play this card, draw 1 card, then choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, send it to their warp without an energy cost restriction either. So like, playing this is already like a +2. and then that double strike crit is great. And then lastly, we have the 6-drop, EX Evolve, crit, double strike, dual attack barrier, and auto when a card evolves in this card, switch this card to active mode. So what you can do is that you can get a bunch of attacks just from this. So you swing at this, that's 1 damage, restand it with dual attack, EX Evolve on top of the 5-drop. Now you have a crit double strike, so that's 3 damage, and that goes into rest mode. And then when you EX Evolve into this, switch to active mode. So now you've got 2 more swings with its dual attack, so you can do up to 7 damage with just these 3 cards with let's say you already have the 4-drop out for just 3 energy. And if you don't have that, it's just an extra 2 energy. So for 5 energy, you can have 7 attacks go off, and 6 of them are critical. So I think that's a really good combination, and it's super powerful, and it's just fun. It's just like a fun thing to do, and being able to facilitate this with just support generically with this leader, I think is good, because you're already like making a lot of advantage, and then if the attacks you're doing are critical, like you're still doing damage without them being able to gain any card advantage back. So cards to support this archetype as well. So we have 2 Protector of the People. This is the new Super Renegade, and it's fantastic. So you negate the attack, that means choose 1 card in your hand, place in your drop area. If you do, choose up to 1 of your leader cards gains the following effect for the turn. When this card is attacked by a battle card, it gains plus 5k power for the turn. So it's only battle cards, not including leader, but some decks go super wide right now, and making it so it's harder and harder for you to get attacked over with every swing, I think is a great ability. And this is one of my favorite new negates, and I almost would want to put like a 3rd one either in the main board or in the side deck, but I think it's a really good call. We also have a Kraken Space Time. So it's after battle, if your leader is a black sand card, gets plus 15k power and double strike for duration in the battle. So it's just for a leader, but even worst case, like spending 1 energy for 15k combo power is a really good deal in a lot of situations, but also it just means that we can go in with our leader, and since like the big boys already have like double strike, mostly like the 6-drop and the 5-drop, we're not as worried for having like Hidden Power, East Supreme Kai. It is in the sideboard, but like these already have double strike, so we don't have to care as much about it. And so if we have this 1 card that can only give it to our leader, that's fine, because our leader needs to double strike more than anything else. So good card there, can really help you out. 3 Dark Power, Black Mass Sand. I think this card is going to be more and more relevant, since more and more decks are playing like cheating out cards with like autos. So just having one of these is fine, and then also it's our only self-awakening besides Power Burst, so I think it's a good card for this deck as well. Running 4 Power Burst because why not? We also need some self-awakening, but it's also like being able to like plus, like you can, like even if you have like 6 or less, or like 6 life, you can use Power Burst for free, take the life, and then you also get the plus like either Dark Power, Black Mass Sand, or Son Goku. So being able to like gain card advantage, like draw 2 and negate an attack, is really good. So I think this card's good. Even if you don't do it for free, you still get the card back. So I think that's good cards there. Super combos are running 2 of the Bibbidi. This is a really good like surprise deck. So if all your energy is black, which is super easy, just don't charge the red. When you combo with this card from your hand, this card gives plus 1k power for the duration of the turn for each card in your drop area and warp. So if you have 27 cards between the drop area and warp, so like half your deck, this becomes a 30k combo for free, and I think that's insane value, and can really catch your opponent off guard. And then also Temporal Rescue Trunks. It's just for some card advantage and card cycle as well, but generally this is like your mid-game super combo, and then Bibbidi would be your late game super combo. We're also running 2 of the Deborah, so it's counterplay and also has a permanent if all your energy is black, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 and drop area. And then auto during your opponent's turn, when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards that can attack or activate skills for duration of the turn. And I think there's a lot of situations where this is good, especially since like it stops from attacking. We don't have a lot of effects from that, but autos when this card attacks are hard to generically not happen. So by preventing them from swinging in general, you can negate that skill, even though this already negates skills. But I think this is a good card for preventing like good cards like that. And then into the sideboard, we've got so Flight of the Grand Eagle. This card's really interesting. We can't do the permanent since our leader isn't red, but it just has this counterattack. You can choose one of your leader cards or battle cards, gets plus 100k power for the battle. So that's like insane value. It's it's only can be used on defense, but if we're playing against someone that can generate like a huge amount of value, we can just it's like a negate that doesn't actually negate. There's some cards that this card's attack can't be negated, but this gets around that, but it's giving us a bunch of power, and it's kind of like a double after image technique. Like that, but it can't. I think the big thing is that it can't. But there's no surprise factor, right? Like with Bivity, you can like drop 2 of these and you have like 60k combo power for 2 cards, and your opponent's already shotgun their hand. Alternatively, your opponent just immediately knows, oh, I can or can't combo out of this, and so it just becomes like a one. It's a counterattack in general, but I think it's an interesting choice. Once again, you have to charge red, which also means that your Bivity becomes offline because you don't have black energy anymore. So, all black energy, so that's something you can consider as well, but this could be worth it in the right matchups. Running 3 commies, I think this card's getting more and more relevant as well, kind of like the same thing with Dark Power, Black Mass Saiyan. Both of them are really good for, decks that go wide or cheat out a bunch of things, like Yellow Jiren right now, and I think this is a good card for that. Worst case is just cycles for 1. This guy, I don't know how to say his name, so I won't, but it's Actimane for, I think it's only 1 energy, but you move this card from your drop area from the game, then you choose 2 cards in your hand, place them at the bottom of your deck in any order. Draw cards equal to the number of cards you place at the bottom of your deck with the skill. Then, for the duration of the turn, if your opponent plays a battle card at 20k power or less, they choose 2 cards from their hand, send them to the warp. This is fantastic for a lot of, like, counterplay cards, or even, like, some of the smaller rival cards as well. It just punishes your opponent for trying to play cards on your turn, which is nice. And then also the cycle is cool, especially since you can put like a 4-star ball in the bottom of your deck, and then you can just use like a 1-drop Son Goku to get it back immediately. And then you also get to shuffle your deck if you need to. So I think this is a good card for all that, and can really just prevent your opponent from doing things. It kind of is like, it reminds me a little bit of like minus Killy Zone a little bit, but it has an energy cost, which is great, and then it has some cycle as well. And then we have Majin Buu's Human Extinction Attack. This card's also fantastic, and I almost would consider putting this in the main as well. But if your leader card is black, choose up to 1 of your leader cards of battle cards gets plus 15k power for duration of the battle. So that's really good. And if all your energy is black, when you activate this card, choose up to 1 battle card of your opponent's drop area, send it to the warp, then place the top 4 cards from the top of your deck into your drop. There's so more cards. There's so much cards that are using when this card is in your drop area effects. Like example is like the yellow Son Goku, or like the new Rebrand from the set, that this can get like a lot of value and prevent your opponent from making plays they would otherwise. So this is really good for disruption and making it hard for your opponent to do what they really want to do. So I like this card as well. And lastly, 2 Petrification. So if your leader card is black, negate the attack, then you may choose 1 card for your hand, place it in your drop area. If you place a card in your drop area, choose to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. It can attack, be placed in your opponent's combo area or activate skills until the end of your next turn. So it prevents it on your opponent's turn too, and like this can like really set up for like you going off next turn. So like let's say they have like a barrier blocker, they swing with something on their turn, you use this Petrification on their barrier blocker, so they can't activate blocker anymore, it can't be comboed anymore, and can really set you up for some good stuff. But I think it's a nice card. It's kind of like Deborah, but instead of counterplay timing, it's counter attack timing, and it also ignores barrier, unlike Deborah. So I think it's a good card. That's really it. So I like this deck a lot. I think SloOwly was really creative in making this archetype and putting all these cards together. I can't think of like any glaring things that changed for it. The only thing I could say is that if you don't like the red, you can really substitute any color you want. So if you want to put like senzu beans on the side or something, just like the majority of the main deck has to be like only black energy, just so Bivity works and all that. But otherwise, I think this is a cool archetype, and it's still like really modular and all that. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.